Hey guys, it's Kaz here, and today I'm going to be talking about my 2022 goals, and I'm going to be sharing my 2022 TBR. 2-for-1 video. Mainly because my goals are just like small and really not necessary to have a whole video for them. So I've stuck these two together. Let's just get into the goals. The first goal, Goodreads goal, every year. I say it every time if you've been here. 50 books. Have I read over 100 books the past 3 years at least? Yes, I have. But my goal is 50. Just because I hit it every time doesn't mean I have to up it. So Goodreads goal, 50 books every year. It's going to stay that forever. It's just who I am. Obviously another goal is my 2022 TBR books, which I will share with you in a sec. Side note, I did actually manage to finish my 2021 TBR books. There was 21 books for 2021. This year there's 22. Imagine that. But yeah, I'm glad I managed to get to them all, because the past few years I've hit most of them but left a few behind. But 2021, read them all. Hopefully this year will be the same. It will be. I've picked pretty easy books. We'll talk about it in a bit. Next up, Buzzwordathon. This is a readathon, reading challenge thing that Kayla from Books and Lala created. I did want to do this last year, but I watched the video, really excited for it, wrote all the prompts down, looked at the books I owned, and like 3/4 of them I just didn't have even one book to fit the prompt, so couldn't do it last year. But this year I feel like the prompts are more open, they're more easy to be able to pick different things for. And if you saw my January TBR, you'll see that I've already talked about January's Buzzwordathon prompt and picking a book for that. So yeah, that's the thing that I'm going to be doing. Next up, another goal that is just the same as every year. You see, it's just, this is why I didn't want to just make this video its own video, because guess what? I want to review all the books that I read. Imagine that. I do this the past 2 years. I was going to say every year, but I started it a couple of years ago, and honestly I'm annoyed at past me when I look on Goodreads and look at a book that I read more than a few years ago and there's no words there, and it's really annoying because I'm like, what did I think of that book? I don't know. How annoying. So yeah, it's good to review books because then I myself can go back and look about what I wanted to say about it. So it's for me, it's for you, it's for people, it's for everyone. Review all the books. And another goal that is the same as last year. I want to read at least 50% of the books that I hold this year. So 2021, I almost got there. My birthday is at the end of the year, Christmas is at the end of the year. At the end, I read 48% of the books that I hold, so very, very close. Didn't quite hit the mark, but another part of this goal that is sort of changing from last year is to calm the fuck down with Vine books. If you don't know, I'm part of this thing, Amazon Vine. Basically, if you review loads of stuff on Amazon and people interact with their reviews, then you get invited to be part of Vine, and then they send you stuff for free and you review it. And when I saw that books were on there, I was like, oh wow, give me all of the books for the first few months. So I had loads of books that I hauled last year that I wouldn't have bought. So it's like, if I didn't haul them, I definitely would have hit the 50%. So calm down, only click the books that I have heard of and know that I want to read, or when I read the synopsis I genuinely think it sounds really good, because I have read a few books off there that I never had heard of but were really good. But there are also other ones that I'm like, I just got it because it was a book and I know that I wouldn't necessarily have been interested in it. I wouldn't have picked it up for £2 second hand, so why did I just get the books? So yeah, in a roundabout way, stop getting all of the Vine books basically. It's easy. A couple of goals I have that are not book related. Side note, I know some people say the channels, like, oh, channel goals. I would like to be the sort of person that is like, yeah, I'm gonna hit 1,000 subscribers this year, but I just don't have any faith in myself, and I don't know how I can force people to subscribe to my channel. So I don't have a goal. I mean, I hit 900 subscribers at one point in the last few days of last year, and then it went down, and now it's gone down again, so I have no control over that. So I'm not even gonna add it as a goal, because then it will be sad when I don't hit 1,000. So, you know, channel goals are not for me, but it's really cool that other people have these sort of goals to achieve and to aim towards. But I'm like, bro, I've been here for years, what else can I do? I don't get paid for this shit, so I'm not putting too much effort in, you know what I mean? Subscribe if you want, but if you don't, then whatevs. But yes, that was a side note. A couple of goals I have that are not to do with reading. First of all, I want to update my website because it's been the same for several years and I have ideas of what I want to do with it. I just need to sit down and have the time and patience to do it. If you don't know, I have a photography website. I'll link it in the description if you want, if you care. Live music photos and then some other people type portraity photos on there. But yeah, I have ideas of what I want to do that and overhaul it and make it better. So even if you do look on there now, it won't look like that. Hopefully soon, if I got the minerals and can be asked, hopefully it won't look like that for too much longer. We shall see. Another goal is do art. I don't want to set myself, I don't want to be saying like, oh, I want to do 10 watercolours, I want to do 10 portraits, or I don't want to set a goal of what to do, I just want to do art. And I feel like I did do some art last year, so doing art is pretty easy, hopefully. So that's just something I want to do. Art. So now I'm just going to go through the 2022 TBR books. I have them in sections, so let's just go. First of all, a couple of thrillery, horror-y type books. I want to read Hannibal by Thomas Harris. This is the next book in the Hannibal Lecter series. Last year I read the second book, the year before I read the first book, so it's like an ongoing thing. Read this one this year, maybe next year I'll read the next one. Also, that links in with another thing that I didn't mention in my goals. Finishing series, carrying on series, is something that I actively noticed and tried to do last year. I did get through some, I'll tell you in my stats videos, all that jazz. I'm glad I just mentioned that because I would have forgotten to do that, but I've not filmed my stats video yet. But yeah, I have books on this list that are continuations of series, but I made sure I didn't have a book that was a start of a series in here that I know of. So yes, I'm sure you know what Hannibal Lecter is about and all that. Hannibal, it's about Hannibal murdering and that, and eating the people. I also have I Have No Secrets by Penny Jolson. This one is about a girl who can't speak. She has some sort of disability, but I can't remember what it is. But yeah, she can't speak and she's the only witness to a murder, and then she's trying to tell people or expose the murderer or whatever. And yeah, it sounds really interesting, so that's that one. I just put the one graphic novel on the list, and that was From Hell by Eddie Campbell and Alan Moore. It's quite a chunker. It's probably going to take a while to get through. It looks like this inside. Well yeah, I saw the movie millions of years ago. It is about Jack the Ripper, and they decide who is the killer in here, because obviously Jack the Ripper, famously, nobody knows who it was. In here it has like a conclusion. So it'll be interesting to read the source material since I've seen the movie several many times. Next up I have some sci-fi books, just the next stack that I grabbed. So first up I have The Fate of 10 by Pittacus Law. This is the next book in the whatever the shit this series is called. I Am Number 4. Lorien Legacy. This is the next book in the Lorien Legacy. Which number book I don't know, because it's one of them really irritating series where nowhere on the book does it say book 7, book 3, book 2. Really annoying. It's book something or other, 5, 6, 4, something like that. It's an ongoing series. I want to finish it. There you go. It's about aliens and that. Not like fun aliens, people looking aliens, you know. Boring. It's alright. I also have Vengeful by V.E. Schwab. This is the second and final book in the Vicious Vengeful duology. I don't know if it has a name. But yeah, it's quite a lot bigger than the first one. The first one was about two former friends somehow get magical powers and then they become rivals and then stuff happens. So this is going to be the conclusion to that. It's going to be interesting. Hopefully I remember enough of what happened in the first one. I also have Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. You know what this is about. It's about dinosaurs. Look at it, clearly. yeah, I've never read Jurassic Park. I've seen Jurassic Park. I've heard that the book's quite different to the film, so it'll be interesting to see how different, what sort of differences. And yeah, it's one of those books that are like a classic that I've never read, which is most classics, but it's a fun classic rather than a boring classic, you know what I mean? Hopefully it's a fun classic. Haven't read it yet, might be shit, but I've heard good things. I've heard that it's good, so that's another one. And then the last in the sci-fi section, but also I'm not even sure if this counts as sci-fi. Is it sci-fi? Is it contemporary? I feel like I've heard Kay Ancrum say that her books are contemporary. The Wicker King, it's hard to put in a box, so I'm sure this is the same. It's about people and stuff. I don't even know what it's about, and I don't care because I really like The Wicker King. This kind of a little bit intertwines with that because I know the characters from that are in here. There's people, there's somebody that's going to be an astronaut. There we go. I don't need to know. I don't want to know. Hopefully it's going to be really good. We're probably more than halfway through, but I figure I should probably, you know, throw on over to one of the sponsors before I come back with all the rest of the books on my 2022 TBR. Next up we have the non-fiction section. So first of all I have Mindhunter by John Douglas and Mark Olshaker. I've had this book for several years. I really like the TV show. This is non-fiction about behavioural analysis and creating the term serial killer and interviewing killers and all the psychology and stuff behind murderers and that. So it sounds really interesting and I should finally read it because I've owned it for several years. Just haven't got there yet. The Story of My Bookish Life. Owned for several years, haven't got there yet. The next one is Shackleton's Boat Journey by F.A. Worsley. This is a very small, thin non-fiction about Shackleton's boat journey. You know, it's kind of self-explanatory. But yeah, I've got a massive Shackleton non-fiction book where it's like the biography of his whole life. It's really big. It's like 57 times bigger than this. So I figured I should read the small version first, so I've got a little bit of the knowledge, and then read the bigger one. I feel like that'll be a good way to go rather than reading the really in-depth one and then this one because I'll know everything already. So yeah, Shackleton was an explorer dude who was exploring the Arctic, the Antarctic, one of them. You know what I'm about. I'm about the Arctic tings. I also have The Wild Truth by Karen McCandless. This is, if you've ever read or heard of, what is the book even called? Into the Wild. It's a film, it's a book, it's a thing, it's a real life story about a guy who left all of his possessions behind, went out into the wild, lived his own life for a bit, and then was found dead in a van, well, this thing, a bus thing, in Alaska. Well, this is his sister telling the sort of behind the scenes stuff, and it might be a bit interesting because in the other side of the story, like Into the Wild, it's all, oh, we don't know why he did it. He came from a really loving family and nothing was wrong in his life, but he just decided to throw it all away. And then here in the back it sounds like dark secrets. Maybe the family weren't as nice as they say they were, so it might be quite interesting to see this side of the story. And then last in the non-fiction section I have Erebus, the Story of a Ship by Michael Palin. Again, this is like polar travel but the ship. I like my polar travel books, I can't lie. So yeah, it's about the ship and the journey and the stuff that happened along the way. Next up I have the contemporary section. So first of all I have Boys Don't Cry by Mallory Blackman. This is about a young lad whose ex-girlfriend turns up with a baby. Turns out he's got a baby, didn't even know the baby existed. And then she disappears on him and he's now a young new father with no baby stuff at hand because he didn't even know he had one and now he has one. So I feel like it's going to be good. I have The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. This is a classic, imagine that. I'm not that kind of guy. But it's a modernish classic and I don't know much about it. It's about gangs, I think, and stuff. And I genuinely don't know. But I feel like it might be the sort of classic that I'm into because I don't care about period stuff. But this is a bit more gritty, I think. and I'm going to read it. Dance on My Grave by Aidan Chambers. I'm actually currently reading this. I've nearly finished, to be fair. This is about a friendship turned relationship thing over the summer, and then a death and not a court case, it's before the court case, and an investigation into something. I don't want to ruin it, but you know, it's called Dance on My Grave. Let's just put it there. I have Aristotle and Dante Dive into the Waters of the World by Benjamin Elias Sains. This is the second book in the Ari and Dante series, duology. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's the next book, so it counts as getting, you know, series read. And yeah, I honestly don't know anything about the synopsis of this. I don't know how long after the first book it is, whether it's instantly, whether months have gone by, whether years have gone by. I don't need to know. I just want to dive into this one. Like the title says, I've been waiting for it for a million years, so whatever's in it, I'm just going to read it. And then also in the contemporary section I have 4321 by Courtney Stevens. This is about survivors of a bombing on a bus and then them getting their life back together, I think, ish. And the last section is fantasy stuff. So first of all, I have The Scorpio Races by Maggie Stiefvater. This is a standalone. I don't know much about it. I should probably stop saying that. But also it means the video is not crazy long with me reading synopsises out. I know there's a horse and races and it's a standalone and it's Maggie Stiefvater, so I want to read it. Don't need to know anything else. Next up in the fantasy section is The Burning Kingdoms by Sally Green. This is the third and final book in the Smoke Thieves trilogy, which means because it's been a while, I do want to reread the first two as well. So this is like 3 books in one that I have to read, but I definitely, with this series, want to get my memory back about what happened, because it's been a while. And I don't want to ruin it by not remembering anything that was going on. It's about demons and a bunch of different characters all coming together, and politics and war and royalty people and all cool stuff like that. I also have Seal of the Worm by Adrian Tchaikovsky. I don't own this one yet, it's in transit, but the Royal Mail, who knows when it's going to arrive. This is the last book in the Shadows of the Alps series, the 10th and final book, so I'm really looking forward to seeing where it goes. The last book, the ending, so now what happens? You know what I mean? You don't know what I mean because nobody's read it. Kay, you know what I mean. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting to that one when it finally arrives. I have Bitter Blue by Kristen Kashaw. This one, well, I thought it was the last book in the Graceling. Is it a trilogy? Probably not, because like the second book is like a prequel. It doesn't really, the Graceling realm of books, but turns out there's another one after this as well. But it's still carrying on a series, Bitter Blue. This is set a few years after Graceling, I believe. Again, it's been a while since I read Graceling. This is why you need to read series a bit quicker. I tell myself all the time and then ignore. So yes, Bitter Blue. It's about Bitter Blue. But also, like I say, it's a sequel, so I don't want to ruin anything. It's about stuff. Fantasy stuff. That's why it's in this section. Into the Netherwood. No. Lost in the Netherwoods by Aidan Thomas is, I believe, a Peter Pan retelling. I've never read Peter Pan, not gonna lie. But this is going to retell that book that I've never read in a different way. I have seen the film though. But yeah, I don't know much about this. I say again, whoops. You know what, I like not knowing about stuff, because if you know too much, some synopsises tell you stuff to happen like halfway through the book and it's really annoying because you're waiting for stuff to happen and then you already know it's going to happen. So I like not knowing, is my excuse. But I really enjoyed Cemetery Boys, so interested to see. I've heard mixed things about this one. Maybe some people are just expecting it to be Cemetery Boys too much and then have different expectations, but I'm just going to go into it and read it and hopefully enjoy it. And then last but not least on this whole TBR is Wild Sky by Zaya Feli. I really wanted to read this last year, I didn't get to it. It's about dragons. It's Zaya Feli. I'm going to enjoy it. That's the synopsis. So there we go, those were my goals, those were my 2022 TBR books. I have a bunch more videos coming out, as I've mentioned in my last one. We've got my stats, we've got my wrap up of November and December, because I didn't put a November wrap up out last month, whoops. I have other things. Oh, a flip through of my journal. I've been doing a journal, reading journal, so I've got that coming. There's all sorts of things going on, so if any of that sounds interesting, maybe give me a little subscribe, but don't if you don't want to, because otherwise what's the point? But yeah, let me know down below any things, any stuff. What are your goals? Have you read any of these books? Do any sound interesting, even though I didn't explain any because I'm terrible? All that there, if you like. Thanks. But yeah, if this is your first video by me and you enjoy it, then please check out some of my others. And if you continue to enjoy, then please subscribe, that'd be awesome. Anyway guys, I'll see you in a few days with another video.